You know what it is, you already know what it is. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Man, you know, today I just have to address this, and I'm speaking specifically to black women. Speaking specifically to black women, black women and Latino women, blacks and Latinos in this situation. All right, now everyone is welcome to listen because I'm sure it interests everyone. It's kind of a universal thing I'm saying, but specifically black and Latinos, pay attention to what I'm telling you. Just yesterday, all right, again, there was another, I believe she's 19-year-old black girl who left this job. I'm a teacher at a learning center out here in West Palm Beach, and she quote unquote job abandoned, meaning that she left the job without telling anyone, just got up and left. No one knew anything about it, just decided that she was done working. Now, sadly, the sad thing about this situation, it has become the norm in my line of work, whether it's fitness, whether it's education, whether it's sports. This happens quite a bit. All right, so I want to just address something. I want to tell you guys something. If you're listening to me right now and you are thinking about doing that, first of all, don't do it. All right, it's completely irresponsible. It's ridiculous, and I totally understand your situation may be difficult, but let someone know something because it's only burning your bridge. It's only hurting you. All right, but I want to give you just a story about why you cannot do that. You cannot do that. How it affects everyone. How it hurts everyone. All right. When I was a freshman at Good Counsel High School. This is back when we were in Wheaton, Maryland, and the area in which we were at, the area of Wheaton in which we were at, there was a huge Hispanic community. So we had a lot of people coming to Good Counsel that were Hispanic and black. There were a lot of black and Hispanic people, at least when I went there. This is back when like I mentioned, back when we were at Wheaton before we moved to Olney, right? There had a day, it was like an international day that Good Counsel put on. International day where you had certain clubs come and perform, you know, whether it was the Black Students Association, Latino Students Association, European Students Association, all sorts of different cultures came in, and we basically shut the whole school down. It was a huge assembly, and everyone did their performances and things like that, right? So it lasted for quite a bit, lasted for a couple hours, and I remember sitting in the audience, wondering, you know, you get the program and you're wondering when the black and Latino people are going to go, when the black and Hispanic groups are going to go and stuff like that. In fact, I remember I was in Spanish class one time, and they were I think it was the Latino students rehearsing. They were rehearsing their actual performances for International Day and all that stuff. So they worked really hard on it, right? So long story short, we get to the end of the school day, and we've sat through, you know, violins and pianos, a bunch of stuff that has absolutely no culture. Like it was boring. I mean, motherfuckers were falling asleep and shit like that, all right? And we get to the black and Latino groups, and the school day's over. And there's an announcement saying, oh, well, if you want to stay, you can stay, but if you have other stuff to go to, extracurricular activities. I mean, like, it was so fucking ridiculous. I mean, people were getting so upset. We had to sit through all this boring shit, and we couldn't see the black and Hispanic groups. And it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating, so angry, especially knowing at a place like Good Counsel where it's a predominantly Caucasian school. It's a Catholic school where it's predominantly white people, right? During the rant, during the whole, like, just all the commotion and all the chaos and all the upset, like, just all the anger, right? It was a black girl who was, you know, I really cannot, I don't even think I ever knew her name. But it was through all the commotion, she was so upset that she started walking out. She just started walking. She said, this is ridiculous, this is bullshit. Like, she was so angry, right? And one of the other black girls grabs her and says, listen, remember what Maya Angelou said. Maya Angelou said, still I rise, still I rise, still I rise, still I rise. And she kept saying it, and it calmed her down. And even to this day, I included that story in my first book, Swiftly, Your Guide to Innovative Teamwork. By the way, if you have not got that yet, make sure you cop it on makeyourmove.com. And that's the point I want to get to you. All right, I'm telling you this story specifically because if you are in a situation where you're working and you do not feel like you're growing, or you're getting some feedback that's not the best, or you don't plan on being there for a long time, there's no such thing as a dead-end job. You have got to still rise. Maya Angelou wrote that book specifically for people like you, or specifically came up with that concept for people like you who are struggling and, they still got to be professional. Is it fair? No. Was it fair that the Black and Latino people the Black and Latino clubs had to go and do their performances at another time when everyone else forgot about it? Was it fair then? No. But like the girl said, still I rise, still I rise, still I rise. Again, I get it. I totally understand. I've had a lot of shitty jobs and a lot of shitty bosses, a lot of dickhead owners and all that stuff. And there's been times where I want to walk out. But I know in my mind, it's not going to help the overall goal. It's not going to help the overall process. It's not going to help us as a people, us as a minority. It's not going to help you if you just up and leave. All right, you got to take your grind. You got to take your grind to another level and understand you're not the only one going through it. Again, I'll have a whole lot more on this. If you have not yet, make sure you subscribe to the Move Swiftly podcast, especially if you're listening to this on the Move Swiftly podcast. Just click that little follow button. If you have not yet heard about the Move Swiftly podcast, make sure you find it and subscribe to it ASAP. Also, like I mentioned before, you can get my books on makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. And purchase. Make sure you are inquiring about the ROI hiring seminars and the Move Swiftly workshops, in which we kind of avoid the problem in which I just discussed with you, right? We're going to find the right employee and the right employer and make sure we avoid situations where people quote unquote job abandon and just up and leave, because that kind of stuff, it just can't happen. It can't happen. Understand how detrimental it is to us as a community when people do this kind of shit. All right. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.